The animation seems to be back to normal this week on the final episode of Wizard Barristers. Going into this episode with my expectations very low, I'm glad I did. This episode just did not finish anything, the plot was left wide open, and it literally was a giant middle finger to the entire audience that stuck with this series for over 12 episodes. So, here I go, I'm going to go into my final thoughts on Wizard Barristers, what I feel about the series, what I recommend this, all the nitty-gritty of what I truly felt about this series in a whole. So, really, let's talk about the animation first. As you all know from my first impressions video of the first episode of Wizard Barristers, I did not like the character designs. I did not like Cecily's character design. She just looks very ugly for a main female character, and I just don't like the way her entire design was. And even some of the animation moments just don't look well, especially when you add CGI type metaloids or robots into the mix. So, I felt like the animation overall was lacking, but it wasn't that bad of animation. It just wasn't my type of taste. So, that's just my honest opinion right there. So, the music. Let's talk about the music score. I love the opening song, the ending song. I do love the soundtrack. The soundtrack is really nice. I like it. It's not the best soundtrack I've ever heard, but it is fitting for this type of series. So, let's talk about the overall plot. The plot, I swear to you right now, the kindergartners could have wrote a better plot. There's so many consistent plot holes for this entire series that I can fall in it. I mean, it's bad. Now, people will probably argue with me and probably say you need to turn off your brain to watch this series. But think about this real quickly, okay? This series is technically a dark crime investigation detective, series. You shouldn't have to turn off your brain to something like this because you have to think about what's going on with the cases. But when you actually start thinking on these cases, you start to see the major plot holes in all the cases. Let's take the final episode, for instance, okay? I want to bring up the entire plot holes I saw in this entire freaking episode. For one thing, Cecily was just stupid, okay? She was really stupid to just allow the main character, that was the main villain of the series that was trying to summon Lucifer, to go into that trial with no evidence and take his word that he would tell the entire court everything. That was stupid on her part, very immature, and even the major brass, like the top people in her organization of Cecily, should have known that he probably wouldn't have said everything. So, that was stupid right there, but that's not a major plot hole. What the plot holes I see in this is that the judge, let's talk about the judge for a second, okay? So he allows Cecily, that is, acquainted with the actual main defendant and all that, the person being charged at the moment, and so he allows Cecily to come into court to defend him. And this right here, okay, I thought it was going to be like an unfair trial, and at the same time, I thought it was going to be really interesting. Since this is the final episode, I thought the plot was going to be a little bit better. But it turned out that as soon as Cecily was in the court, they completely negated all her opinions just because she was, related to the person that was getting trialed. So I was thinking, like, why the fuck would you allow Cecily to defend this guy and you won't even hear her damn opinion? Why? That right there pisses me off. The judge just completely negated her opinion, like just overruled her when he allowed her to be there to state her opinion. They kept saying everything she was saying was just from her personal experience of being a victim. What the living fuck? That right there, that's bullshit, okay? I want to tell you, I don't know if I explained that right to you, but that is bullshit. That is downright just garbage, okay? So, the plot right there, that's just bad. And then they turn around and they imprison the main villain that has killed a lot of people, killed his own damn son, set up people to get trialed and freaking sentenced to death like Cecily's mother, and turns around and gets life in prison. Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? We've seen countless people that have had trials in this series get sentenced to death on minor crimes of killing one person. So, this is absolutely horse garbage. I don't even know what to say about this. This is bad. It really is. I'm not going to say this is the worst garbage I have seen of this season. It's definitely not that, but it is low tier quality of this season. Overall, my honest impressions, would I watch this series again if I know what I know now? No, I would not. I thought I was going to go into a very serious show that was going to have some form of dark elements, but it does have those dark elements, but it leaves you, like, saying, oh, okay, this feels too, like, heartfelt, like it's just too happy in some scenes. Like, I mean, we have constant comedy that just does not work in this series, like the freaking opie grabbing of Yuri scenes to a freaking frog trying to grow up our main female character, along with just other scenes that just do not make a lick of sense. So I felt like a lot of these elements of the series just did not work, and they definitely did not help the series in a whole. let's talk about the characters, okay? The characters, I've already talked about Cecil, what I felt about her. All the character designs feel rather pointless. I mean, none of them really had any development whatsoever, and I felt like they were all rather pointless to the overall series. I mean, we had another organization of Mekal, I think the name of the wizard organization is. We had 2 different organizations. None of the organizations really got explained well, and none of the characters really got an in-depth background. We didn't understand the logic of how some characters seem smarter than others and somehow magically pull out trump cards out of their ass out of nowhere. So I feel like overall, the characters were really lacking. Almost every single character was lacking, but if I had to say my favorite character in the series was Moyo. Now, I'll tell you, Lucifer, even as a character, it just didn't make a lot of sense. Her entire character design leaves a giant plot hole also, especially with the last episode we did. If we look past the animation from last episode, we will see a major plot hole. For some reason, she wanted Cecily's body. She wanted to get inside Cecily, you know, fuse her and all that kind of stuff, okay? Well, somehow she's fine with getting rejected out of Cecily's body and starts to become a cheerleader, pretty much just cheering for Cecily, and now she seems like she just wants to have Cecily for herself, even though she's outside of her body. So, there's a lot of things right there just messed up. They never went too far into detail and didn't explain a lot. I mean, we know that she's Lucifer, we know she's a demon, but they didn't go far into it. And then we have the entire trial case with Cecily's mother. That never even got answered. That never got finished, and that was just left wide open too. That's another thing that just didn't get concluded in this season of Wizard Barristers. So, I'm not going to watch a season 2 of this series. I definitely will not. I just didn't enjoy this series. I mean, I just didn't like almost everything about it. It wasn't that bad. I guess some people could say this is a very good series and may be unique, but I just don't like the pointless way they try to tell the plot. The major thing that bugs me about the series is the way there's just so many plot holes in the written plot that just upset me. It really did. So, really, tell me your thoughts on this final episode of Wizard Barristers. Did you enjoy that big middle finger at the end to where it's left everything wide open? Tell me your thoughts on Wizard Barristers. Did you enjoy this series? Did you hate this series? What'd you feel about the last episode with that animation just that shit on itself? Tell me your thoughts on this entire series. Was this series to your expectations? Was this series below your expectations? Just let me know. Everybody, love you so much. Chibi out.